Do I ever watch Florida Man? Florida Man? No, I don't. Does he play guitar sometimes on stream? I didn't know that. All right, so should we do a draft or the Arena Open starts in 19 hours? I could just wait for that. It might not be that interesting to watch. We have Nathan's card. Nathan's card's not the worst. I haven't been super impressed by it, but it's like certainly a solid blue card. I think if I was going to pick a blue card, though, I think Repulse is better than it. What are my other options? Lazav, the Cunning Coyote. I never know which one's better between the Coyote and the Roadrunner. I guess this is probably the better of the two. Not that it matters that much. The white cards are all pretty bad. This Pixie I kind of like, but it's definitely not great. Spinewood's Paladin is fine. I think this is just Repulse. Hope the wheel sees the secrets. I kind of like Sees the Secrets. I think it's underappreciated. Somebody got to pick the rare? How lucky. There's Murder. I really want to do the combo with Luxurious Locomotive where you have out the... It has some crazy name, Oltec Gamekeeper, Gatekeeper, something like that. And you hit him with the locomotive and then it makes a treasure, which the treasure gets turned into another locomotive. Just all locomotives. I think I'm just going to pick Murder here. I don't think Murder's that much better than Giant Beaver, but I do think that Blue-Black is probably a better color pairing than Blue-Green. Also, I think Murder's better than Deserts do. It's just hard to get a lot of deserts, at least in my experience. The Blood Hustler, not the worst card in the world. And if I do wind up Blue-Black, it's kind of nice because one of the problems with Blue-Black is that you don't have that many opportunities to get solid 2-drops. There's like the 2/2 lifelink at common, but that's about it. Guess I'll be taking that. Is this the second form of posse I could have had? I could have had a very large posse. Lazav, okay. There's also a Lazav in the pack I opened. But I think Lazav's a fairly strong card. It's obviously not great, but it is a 3-drop that gets pretty good as the game goes on, which is nice. And I don't mind playing 2 of them, so that's not anything to worry about. Lively Dirge. This Blue-Black is not the best color combination for Lively Dirge, but it is an extremely good card, so I'll be taking it. You got Mana Screwed and the power went out in the middle of the game. Oh. Could have been worse. And I generally don't think Forsaken Miner is going to be good in Blue-Black, but none of these cards are going to be good for Blue-Black, so maybe I'm not going to be blue. The Cactus Folk Sure Shot is really good, but it's about as far away from what I'm drafting as it could possibly be. This card doesn't seem that bad to me, but I've never seen it in play. At least I've never put it into play. Maybe somebody cast it one time against me. It's certainly not great, but it seems playable in some sort of multicolor deck. I'll just be taking Vault Plunderer. It's going to be good in any black deck, which I'm some sort of a black deck. This is not quite the wheel. I saw a really funny tweet from, I think, DeFore, when he was #1 for most of last month. And he tweeted a thing where he was like, him drafting at #1 and getting 7 wins over and over again with blue-black. And somebody responded, yeah, blue-black, it's easy to get 7 wins. You just get Raven of Fellow and some crime stuff. And he responded, yeah, I haven't put that in a deck yet. I've been meaning to try it. It is definitely not a very good card. Sees the Secrets Wheel. Nice. I think this was the pack that had Lizov in it. Yeah, it did. Somebody else took a Lizov. The Dog that Surveils 2 seems like a better 3-drop than Vault Plunderer. I'm not going to agree with that. I mean, the Dog that Surveils 2 is playable. It's not like the worst card in the world, but should I pick a red card? I don't know. I think even if I get forced into red-black, I usually like Nezumi Linkbreaker in red-black, so we'll just take that instead. Isn't blue-black archetype crimes, though? No. I mean, if you did the thing where you, like, looked at the signpost uncommon and figured out what it, like, okay, Lizov is the blue-black uncommon, it's saying commit a crime, so blue-black is crimes. It's not, really. I mean, blue-black, it's just control. Some of the time, looking at the uncommons or like looking at what the set is telling you is the theme for a color combination works fine, but sometimes it just leads you down the wrong road. And I think this is one of those cases where it's just telling you the wrong thing to be focusing on. All right. I don't really want to play Forsaken Miner, although I'm starting to get like enough of the kind of small ball black stuff that maybe I'm going to want to be some sort of a small ball black deck. Like all these cards, well, Linkbreaker, Forsaken Miner, Corrupted Conviction, and Lively Dirge all kind of go together in a big package. Lively Dirge is probably strong enough to stand on its own. We have a Newt. Is this going to be a good deck for the Newt? It actually seems okay. I think I'm going to have probably going to have a good supply of removal, which is one of the things that makes the Newt good. Like, the Newt is never great, but you want to have it in a deck that's like somewhat aggressive and is really spell heavy, so that your opponent is really afraid that if it actually gets through for a turn, it's going to do something pretty good. And I guess that's what we've got. Essence Capture's okay. Being double blue really hurts it. And this is not the right deck for Visage Bandit. Rooftop Assassin would also obviously be really good, but it's a 4-mana card. I'll take the 2-mana card instead. Morbid Opportunist. I had no idea this card was in this set up until earlier today when I was looking at what all of the actual cards from this weird sheet is. I don't really understand why this sheet exists. Spell heavy and aggressive doesn't seem to match in this set. I agree that it rarely works out like that, but this might actually be the rare exception. Just what I was hoping for. Some sort of weird Time Twister card. I've never seen anyone cast this. Doesn't seem very good. So my options for like card that would just fit in my deck is like Geyser Drake and Skullduggery. I guess Geyser Drake does a little bit for me. I already have one Skullduggery. I don't really like playing 2 copies of that. I oftentimes don't even play the first one. I'm probably going to play it in a deck that has the Newt. I guess I'm just going to take Geyser Drake. I won't feel too bad if it makes my deck. It's kind of a disappointing 3rd pick, but this pack, I guess if I was white and I got to take that white uncommon, I'd be pretty happy. Other than that, that pack was kind of bad. Another Stone Cold. A little disappointing, but okay. There's now a dedicated tab for the bonus sheet cards. I was trying to figure out like how many of them I had drafted. I finally sort of figured out how to find it. I don't think I found it in the same place you found it because it wasn't easy to find. That was how I learned that Morbid Opportunist was in the set. And I remembered that Tireless Tracker was in the set. I guess I'm taking Deep Muck Desperado. It's not great for my deck, but it is. Can just win the game. Not surprisingly, this kind of blue-black deck that isn't sure if it wants to be aggressive or not is not really coming together. Guess I'll take Harrier Strix. Some people might listen to the Lords of Limited podcast. I'm going to be going on it. I guess it's going to come out next week. We haven't recorded it yet, so it's not going to come out tomorrow, that's for sure. But they were talking about how Harrier Strix is a card that they've seen me play, and I think I played it maybe once or twice. It is not a great card, but it might be an okay card for this deck. If I am going to play Lively Dirge, which makes me really want at least one drop. And I think Harrier Strix might actually be the better 1-drop for this style of deck than the Link Breaker or the Forsaken Miner. I don't think I'm going to really splash the Wrangler of the Damned, but I'm not going to play this Buzzard. I don't think I need Oasis Gardener. Yeah, maybe I'll take Oasis Gardener. Maybe I open Villainous Wealth or Cruel Ultimatum and want to play it. Don't really want any of these cards. Man, nobody's red-green. Can't imagine ever putting Razzle Dazzler in my deck, but whatever. Rare Draft. I'm going to need a pretty good 3rd pack. Yeah. Maybe if you just get enough Seize the Secrets, it'll all work out. Fractured Identity. When I talked about taking that Oasis Gardener, thinking maybe I would get Cruel Ultimatum or Villainous Wealth, I forgot that I could also get Fractured Identity, which I'm going to pick. I've yet to have the Archive Trap deck. I guess I do have the Deep Muck Desperado, but I don't have the uncommon that lets you recast an instant. I don't know, the Archive Trap is like a 1-card strategy. Is all that good? What if we play that and we play this? And we hope to get some white mana. So Bandit's Hall. I like Bandit's Hall. Fine. I could tutor up the Miner and Repeatedly Suicide it. The problem with that plan is it's banking pretty heavily on my opponent cooperating. Which I'm never a fan of. I think I want Stoic Sphinx over Intimidation Campaign. They're obviously both great for my deck. I think Sphinx is just a better card. Oh, second Deep Muck Desperado. Are they making me regret not taking that Archive Trap? Kind of. I think I have to take Mirage Mesa, though. I'm trying to play 3 colors now. Be nice to have at least 1 land. I'm pretty I think I'm capped out on Seize the Secrets, sadly. So it's going to be either Plunder or Emergent Haunting. I don't really like Emergent Haunting all that much. I do love Vault Plunderer. All right. Nimble Brigand. Did I pick the first one of these? I did not. Would I even play this? Probably not. This card isn't even that good when you can cast it. Maybe I want Fake Your Own Death. I don't know. I don't think I'm likely to play either of those. I'm going to have some really good turns with this deck where my opponent leaves back 1 blocker and they have a tapped creature, and I just Fractured Identity their blocker, and I use that to saddle the Newt, and then I hit them and I Fractured Identity their other thing. Can you steal people's lands with this? No. Lame. The Oasis, or the Outlaw Stitcher, it's not the worst. I think it might be worse than Loan Shark for my deck, though. Also don't have a Rooftop Assassin yet, which I don't like that. But I think I'll just take Loan Shark. I'll cut one of these Seize the Secrets. Oh, man. We may be reimagining this deck if that second Deep Muck Desperado wheels. Also like Mourner's Surprise quite a lot. The Foolish Djinn. I don't think that Deep Muck Desperado is going to wheel. Do I really need 2 planes? I have a Fake Your Own Death. I'm not playing it. That is a way that I could make a treasure that would make it easier to cast Fractured Identity. I don't think I need both these planes. I think I want to just play another Swamp, probably. I guess I'm more blue. Yeah, maybe I should play another island. This gives me 2 lands that cast Fractured Identity plus 2 artifacts. 4 sources. This deck also has a decent amount of card drawing. I should get pretty deep into my deck most games. Annie Flash was recruited by Oko. I don't know why Arena wanted me to know that. I don't know any of the lore of Annie Flash. She seems like a non-prominent character. Any predictions in the chat? Predictions of number of wins? I think we should instead try to predict what people are going to say in the chat. Predicting 5-3. I think I can do better than 5-3 with this deck. I think this deck's pretty good. I'm going to predict 6, 3, and 7. I'm going to get 7 draws due to some sort of a weird bug. Improbable sounding, I know, but it could happen. Seems like a kind of suspicious attack. It might have been all that they had, in which case I just took 3 damage for not a lot of reason. I was worried that they had to take up the shield or even Snakeskin Veil there. Or, I mean, it could have been even worse. They could have had, like, trash the town. Rude. Probably going to play Deep Muck Desperado, but I don't want to just play Deep Muck Desperado and leave up Skullduggery. I want to cast Seize the Secrets this turn. So let's see if there's something better to be doing. No, not really. I'll just do this. Probably still going to take the Coward's route and not block. Not really hitting me hard enough that I feel compelled to block. Now that I have mana untapped, I'll be happy to block. Mana untapped and stuff to do. Look at all these triggers. It's great. So when this resolves, it'll be a 5/5. I was worried about this happening. I wasn't expecting them to have so much stuff though. Ooh, just no 3 spells. Nice. Three more spells down. I'm just killing all their spells. Love to see it. Total spell destruction. Hello. I was going to say they're just damaging their own deck, but actually they still have a lot of cards left for my deck damage strategy to really pay off. That's a pretty good one. This is a tough choice. Well, less so now. They're going off. That was a really good draw for them. We have 9 cards left. You know what card would be really good to draw? Fractured Identity. Not bad. Can I turn into anything useful? Become a prairie dog and gain some life. I don't think I want to sack anything, so I won't turn into Baron Gertrude. Maybe I do want to sack something. If I turn into Baron Bertram, I could sack something and get an extra card off the Morbid Opportunist. But I don't really want to sack a flyer, so I don't think I'm going to do that this turn. I think I'll just be a prairie dog. I could possum and return the flyer. Yeah, that would have been, that might have been okay. YouTube is telling me my stream status is poor. I don't really know that I can do anything about that. No, loot the land. I was distracted. I'll loot this one for you. But yes, I probably should have held that land in my hand. Am I planning on recording the Arena Open this weekend? If I make day 2, I'll certainly record the drafts. Recording the sealed always feels kind of weird because it so often happens that like it just winds up being a run that I don't make it. So I either wind up doing a whole bunch of them and it just gets kind of tedious talking for that long, or I wind up like recording just a random one where I don't make it to the next day. Never found a good way to handle that. And this Deep Muck Desperado is giving them the business. Ooh, let's become a Bounding Felidar. Maybe I'll record the. Maybe I'll try to do at least one sealed. I don't know. The percentage of day 1 open sealed decks that I've attempted to record versus the number that I've posted. Well, the number that I've attempted to record is many more than the number I've actually wound up posting. It's just a recipe to like record many hours of content that I then don't even think is worth editing. opponent has a fancy hat. Nice. Should I even play the Harrier Strix turn 1? I think no. I think it's probably worth more damage to just play it on a turn where it can trigger the Blood Hustler, and it allows the Blood Hustler to get through. Hate to see that. I have an exciting opportunity to cast Lively Dirge on my opponent's turn for a single black mana. Except it's a sorcery. It's going to be a problem. So I passed up on, how much? 3 damage at this point? By not having the Harrier Strix in play. But I think I actually just caught up that one turn, because I wouldn't have been able to attack with the Blood Hustler probably. And like this way I netted 2 counters. I think it was worth holding. Now it just needs to die. I don't have any super good 4-drops. Wasn't very good for me. This will give me lethal if they have only 1 blocker back. It also puts a little bit of pressure on them to eventually kill the Harrier Strix. Yeah, they managed to kill the Harrier Strix. Lame. But I can dirge it back, which is nice. So they're dead. They're dead in a bunch of ways. Oh, I kept the Stoic Sphinx I can get. It's not a good thing to get this game, but in future games, I should remember that. Target a player. I'll target me. Can I show the deck? Sure. It's a booster draft deck. I drafted it. It's not a deck of my own. envisioning. I am 2-0 and I haven't drawn Stoic Sphinx or Fractured Identity yet, so that feels good. Hopefully I draw an untapped land next turn so I can play Bandit's Hall and Blood Hustler. If not, I'll probably just play Bandit's Hall. No. Hate to see that. You don't see it very often either. What do they got? They got a Spinewoods Paladin coming up. This exiles it, so it doesn't trigger the Morbid Opportunist. Man, unlucky. They don't like me having a flying creature. This person is just, they're an anti-flying creature deck. So I could just play the Opportunist, murk the Blood Hustler, and then just try to attack into them. Get a card back. Doesn't seem very good. Guess I can Fractured Identity and just hope they don't have Snakeskin Veil. If they have Snakeskin Veil, they're gonna get to use it eventually. So let's just try this. I guess the better argument for not using Fractured Identity right here would be they could have something better in their hand. Like they do have 4 cards. Yeah, that didn't work out very well. Oh, it could have worked out so much worse for me if they just... Why didn't they spend the last mana? But they need to spend... Wait, they spent 2 mana. They didn't have enough mana to kill my Blood Hustler as well. They didn't miss anything. They did get to gain some life, though. I don't like that. I don't like it at all. I think if they had Snakeskin Veil in their hand, they would have played it last turn over. Getaway gamer. I'm kind of inducing them to block if I play the Opportunist first. Because I could have just attacked with all my mana untapped and they wouldn't have been able to play Skullduggery. It's hard for this to go too wrong, because worst case I force them to have a spell and they play... and I get a card off of Morbid Opportunist. being thrown from the saddle, I think. Oh, they're playing Get Away from Me Gamer. Get a lot of those. That's not good for me. I thought I was in pretty good shape, but much less so now. So I'm probably going to have to block the paladin with everything. I did it. I finally got this thing off the board. As opposed to it being blinked for the 7 millionth time. How does this card work exactly? Number of outlaws you control. Rolled 3 spells. Nice. So the opponent has a lot of colors going on. This game appears to be lost. Alright, so I'm 2-0 in games where I don't draw Fractured Identity and 0-1 in games where I do. Fractured Identity, not good. It's been proven. I played with this set for weeks and thought Stoic Sphinx was pretty ridiculous, and I didn't even know that it had flash. It was maybe like, I guess it was probably about 40 drafts into the format before I finally found out this thing had flash. I do kind of want this off the board because it's preventing me from enjoying my Bandit's Haul, as I kind of want to do. Got a Thunder Lasso sighting. I don't know if Thunder Lasso was good there or not. Like, it did really slow me down from getting the Sphinx into play as early as I wanted to. Had they not had the Thunder Lasso, I was definitely gonna just play the Sphinx that turn, but they sort of had a weird combination of cards where I thought they were actually gonna be able to race me. Sphinx right away. No, I'm really not liking the chances of winning any sort of race. Contagion engine. I think they're still just dead. I've not found Contagion Engine to be a particularly good card in this format. I think by the 17 land state, it's just like a straight up below average card. It's going to be a nice repulse. Get that counter off the Stoic Sphinx so it doesn't die. I don't know that there's too many ways to add counters, and that's what's neutering the engine. I mean, honestly, it's kind of... The engine gets a lot better if you have ways to add counters in your own deck, so the proliferating does something for you more than just being like a one-sided sweeper that takes 2 turns and 10 mana to happen. Early on in the format, like maybe day 2 or 3, I made a comment to somebody that I thought Mindslaver and Contagion Engine were both like way worse than they used to be in Limited. And Mindslaver has a really bad win rate. It's, I think the last time I looked, it was like 50%, which is among, like, there aren't many cards that people ever put in their decks that are as bad as 50%. Just because of the way the 17 lands data works. I think an average card's like 56% maybe. And Contagion Engine also is... Contagion Engine's more just like an average card. That's the secret to Contagion Engine, is you need to have planeswalkers you're proliferating onto. That's a good secret. I'm supposed to name white. I do have double black cards in my deck, but I also have a lot more swamps than plains. I think I'm just going to play Vault Plunderer. If I play the Nimble Brigand, it means I'm probably going to want to play Stone Cold next turn against whatever they have, which I don't know that I want to do that. And also there's a real danger that they just have a removal spell. This Vraska stays uninvolved in the game. If they'd had a way to kill the Vault Plunderer in response there, it would have been sad. I kind of like Boneyard Desecrator. It doesn't always make my deck, but when I'm generally happy with it when I draw it. What do they got? I feel like something's about to happen. Ambush Gigapede. Yeah, that ain't great for me. Spell I can cast. Alright. Can't cast it this turn, but this is a strong draw. Have some sort of fight spell in their hand, probably. No, it's sort of worse even, honestly. Gotten a lot of cards off of the Nimble Brigand, but it hasn't amounted to a winning position yet. The thing that the Desecrator's really good if you wind up having a bunch of Nezumi Link Breakers in your deck, which doesn't happen all that often, for sure. I think I didn't want to just opt into a race. Maybe I was wrong there. Maybe I should have just gone for the race. I feel like I still had a hand of action, so wasn't necessary to opt into a race, but maybe I'm wrong. What is this? Not good for me, but everything's bad. Gonna be bad. This is war. I should have played the Vault Plunderer first. Really? I guess that maybe made sense. I was gonna have such a hard time blocking if they just had the Ambush Gigapede. I guess, I don't know. I was gonna have a very hard time winning no matter what they did. Is that the card that's gonna save me? I don't think so. Somebody predicted 5 and 3 with this deck. It's looking like a pretty reasonable prediction now. No. That's fine. My nemesis, it's been discarded. So my options are, I guess straight up, I could straight up do nothing. Could also stone cold the canyon carbs. Which one of the advantages of that is it means that it'll be harder for them to get through this mana screw, which that's probably worth doing. The other option obviously is I could Mourner Surprise back the Oasis Gardener. Look at that, I just destroyed 2 of their land. They're, no, they're just blue-black. They're playing with some sort of swamp that looks like a forest to me. And they have the Razzle Dazzler in their deck, which is, it's not a recipe for success. Is the power creep of Ophidian the most egregious thing to happen to Magic? No. Honestly, I think the most egregious thing to happen to Magic is just the general disrespect people have for homelands. It's like one of the finest sets ever made, and people just hate on it nonstop. It's not right. I guess people don't even hate on it nonstop anymore. People just ignore it and hold it in low regard while ignoring it. I guess I want the X1, or the 1-1 at this point. What I really wanted was to draw a spell off of Seize the Secrets. Remember when I said I wanted to draw a spell? I still want to. I'm going to hold some lands in my hand in case I draw Harrier Strix, but I don't know that I need to hold 3 lands in my hand and plan to spend 9 mana looting them all away. I feel like something bad's about to happen. Oh, they're going to play the bounce one of their things, bounce one of my things? No, they're just straight up. They really wanted the Canyon Carbs back? It's kind of weird. Is this a 16 land deck? I don't think so. This deck is like not really a very low curve deck. I have one drop and probably a below average number of 2-drops. They killed 2 spells? Ridiculous. They did just deal some deck damage to themselves, though. Alright, Harrier Strix, it's time to shine. No, it's not. Stoic Sphinx, it's time to shine. Card tutoring for in playing the Sphinx is kind of absurd. Do you think it's unfair and I shouldn't have done it? Should have gone easier on my opponent? Maybe. I don't really want to let them tutor. I don't think I'm trying to beat them by milling. I guess I'm cutting myself off with white mana, but I don't think they're that likely to kill the Gardener. I've done it. The 5/3 hexproof was enough. Where'd all the opponents go? Where's my arena? Not going well. I think arenas might be screwed up. I don't understand what's happened. Nothing is working. Well, if you can... The stream claims to still be live, but it's not working very well. I think I'm having some sort of internet problems, probably. Arena seems to finally be reloading. It was a struggle. Probably going to just get an automatic loss in that draft. Let's see. Maybe it's something on the broader internet, because usually when this happens, it means that, like, this, I'm having a hard time talking to the server. But other aspects of the internet seem to be working fine for me. All right. Did I get an automatic loss? I did not. So maybe I'm back. The 7-2 dream is still alive. I was hoping for 6-3 and 7. I don't know that we could count what just happened as a draw, though. Unfortunate. going to play the Gardener this turn, so next turn I can play the Strix and the Lone Shark and get the card. We got this thing. I wish I'd been streaming the like the first few days the set was on Magic Online, when this thing was just a 3-mana 5/5. I lost my very first trophy playing on Magic Online to somebody who had Gisa, and the way that it was bugged on Magic Online when it first came out was whenever you targeted their Gisa, it committed a crime for them. So, like, I went to kill it, and they just got 2/2/2s. It was a far better card under those rules, and it's still a ridiculously good card. Wow, they're just decking themselves for no benefit. They've milled 6 cards and accomplished nothing. It must be pretty sad. Come on, Swamp, so I can play Morbid Opportunist and Murder. Not a swamp. I was just about to attack with the Harrier Strix, and they were like, wait, before we go to combat, I just want you to know about this holy cow. So, all right. I'll hold the Strix back. This honestly isn't going that well for me, though. We have a pretty substantial board of creatures and a blue black deck that's got a bunch of 1/3s in it. It's not that good at blocking. I like it when my opponent doesn't attack me. Makes me feel safe. Safe from all their attacking. Guess they must have attacked me with the holy cow. No, they used the holy cow to crew this thing. What are they doing over there? Oh, I screwed up. I made the Burrow Fiend to get bigger. I played right into their strategy of all in on the Burrow Fiend. Does this trigger when it dies itself? No, it's just other creatures. I'm really at a loss as to what it is they're doing over there. Like, after putting all that work into the Burrow Fiend, they didn't even attempt to make it into a creature that turn. Really all over the place with the Burrow Fiend. I'm kind of rooting for the Harrier Strix to die here. Some, like, just another Flash Holy Cow. We have just a good card from the Morbid Opportunist. I'm disappointed in you, Harrier Strix. You were supposed to be the one that died. In the interest of sportsmanship, should I cast my Stoic Sphinx before they attack with the Holy Cow? I'm not that interested in sportsmanship. They saw through my ploy. They didn't even attack into the Holy Cow. Maybe they're watching. Maybe it's a fan. I'm gonna have to spend mana using the Harrier Strix to loot these lands away. Do get to exile creatures from the graveyard with Lazav, rendering the Burrow Fiend and less fearsome. I'm gonna feel bad if they have Fierce Retribution. I'm not gonna feel bad if they have to take up the shield. I'll do this though. I hope I draw a Lively Dirge so I can dirge back my Harrier Strix. Can get back in on the action. Fractured Identity, take that Holy Cow. How's that for a block? They just have Snakeskin Veil. Goes better for me. Yeah, I think that's fine. I don't want to block with just the Lone Shark and then Nimble Brigand, because if they have, not Holy Cow, if they have Snakeskin Veil, it doesn't work out. If I block with the... may not be destined to draw more spells, though. So I've drawn 23 cards out of my deck. 12 lands, 11 spells. That's bad. That's not incredibly bad, though. Still disappointing. I think they just gave up on the Burrow Fiend. They were like, it's not working. We give up on that idea. And I suppose I'm going to play one more land, just so I can loot right away. Tapping down the Armadillo so I could attack and having to pay the Ward 3 does come at a pretty big cost. Oh no, those guys are being defeated. Alright, that's fine. I look cute today. Thank you. No attacks. I like it. That was a good draw. You may be wondering why it was a good draw. It's because you can do this. They really have something here? Oh, getaway gamer? Brutal. I'd like to state I did not enjoy that. Seven cards left. And it doesn't trigger crimes all that well. Oh, wow. That's a good one I got left. But my opponent also just doesn't attack me, which I think it's going to prove to actually be a problem for them that they just fail to attack me so consistently. Like, how much damage do you think they've missed this game? It's not a small number. I'm definitely going to win by decking them, so I'm just going to trade here. It is true, Getaway Gamer has been owning the fractured identity pretty hard. Made it to 5-3. That opponent probably should have won that game. They did make a decent number of medium-sized mistakes. Was this card style for the Raven of Fell Omens given out somehow? Or did this person choose to obtain it? I know I got stuck with having the stupid Binding Negotiations one. I can't even figure out how to turn them off anymore. Do I have to put Binding Negotiations in a constructed deck and then choose so that I can draft and not have it look like that? It used to be that you could change them after you drafted, but I feel like that doesn't work anymore. Have I forgotten my duties as Gab's best head mod? I felt underappreciated. Also, I really just don't watch Twitch streams hardly ever anymore. I watched a little bit of Ham when he was playing some Vintage Cube. That's maybe, to some extent, of all I've watched in the past year. guess I'd rather play Skullduggery this turn. Of course, they're not going to block because I can just spend 4 mana. Yeah, this was stupid. I just missed a point trying to bait them with Skullduggery when obviously they're not going to block. The Raven is from the Mastery Pass. Oh, I never do that, so I don't know how that works. That was bad. I just missed a point. Damage for, like, no good reason. It would have required, like, a monumental mistake by my opponent for it to work out better for me. You have to go into your collection and favorite the red art. Yeah, that's what I thought, but it doesn't even work if you don't think to do it until after you've drafted the card, right? Oh, that's a good card. And they committed 2 crimes to do it, too. Yikes. It would be nice if I could engineer it so that I get to use Harrier Strix plus Skullduggery to kill one of those birds, but I think it would look pretty suspicious if I just played the Morbid Opportunist and then didn't attack with the Oasis Gardener or the Harrier Strix. I guess I could attack with the Oasis Gardener. It'd be pretty weird to just leave the Harrier Strix back to block the 2/1/2s. I think they might see something was up. I didn't even know I streamed on Twitch. I haven't streamed on Twitch in a while. I started streaming on Twitch before it was even called Twitch. That was a long time ago. Okay. I guess that's the best target for them. Situations like this are why I didn't realize that Stoic Sphinx had flash, because it's just oftentimes better to just play it like that. So it just has hexproof. And your opponent's done. You don't get a chance to do anything. They want to, they could leave all their mana up to maybe try and hit the Stoic Sphinx with an instant when I recast the Deep Muck Desperado, but I'm just not going to recast the Deep Muck Desperado if they leave all their mana up. I guess they could attack into me with the Raven of Fell Omens and represent Fake Your Own Death. I might have respected that. People have been paying attention to the Alchemy spoilers. The new Alchemy set's coming out May 7th. I have no idea how many cards have been spoiled. I saw an ad that had 1 of them in it. That was enough for me. I'm excited about Alchemy. Now what have we got? It's going to be something horrible for me, isn't it? Scryfall doesn't have the Alchemy spoilers. They usually eventually get them. I don't think it's very high on their priority of things to add to Scryfall, though. Looks 2 commanders this time. Usually there's like 1 or 2 good things you can find, but it is true that oftentimes it's like a bunch of junk. Oh, this wasn't a good F for sequencing opponent. I'm starting to really not like their chances this game. Usually when I make alchemy actual YouTube videos, there's like a couple people that comment, you know, thanking me for taking the time to make alchemy content. I'll probably make more alchemy content, assuming I find a deck that I actually like. Yeah, I mean, they definitely stopped trying very hard on alchemy, and it's it's kind of in a sorry state, but it's also kind of, it's nice that it's so ignored that if you actually decide to play it, like, there's lots of things to try, and you don't just wind up running into the problem that, like, you do in standard where you try to build a new deck and you're like, well, people have already figured out, like, the best decks. And people have all already figured out all the best cards and the best ways to use them for the most part. Like, even this last PT, I guess that some of the new cards showed up, but there were probably decks in the top 8 that used literally no new cards. I don't know if that might not literally be true, but like the Temur Landfall combo deck, it was just like a great deck that already existed. Oh, the Rictus Robber. I don't like that thing. Oh, this isn't going well. I actually screwed up. I didn't realize that they put a Rictus Robber on layaway. I should have played the Bandit's Hall last turn, so I wouldn't fall so far behind like this. I feel like I kind of have to just try to get him with the Sphinx now. Yikes, that was big. They didn't change. I don't think they changed the Bowmasters fast enough. They did change it, but like, I think we could have figured out that that one was a problem, you know, the first week. The Harrier Strix, it saved me so many times before, but not this time. Is there even a way to live? Yes, if I repulse the token and I hit an untapped blue or black land, I can then play the Strix, have the Strix block the Gigapede, and shrink the Rictus Robber with Skullduggery. The other thing I could do is I could repulse the Rictus Robber, but that's going to put me in a situation that's like impossible to win next turn. Alright, I drew a tapped land, so that plan didn't work. I probably would have lost that game no matter what I did, but I definitely played the wrong card on turn 3 and it didn't help. Alright, 6 and 3. Respectable. It was amazing. I don't think I won any games with Fractured Identity. Every time I cast it, I just got blown out. Let's do one more draft. I've actually had people play Bowmasters against me in Alchemy after it was nerfed. It was like, I think they had it in their deck kind of as a tech card for winning Rusco mirrors. Like, just to have something that'd be really good when the midnight clock went off. this is probably just supposed to be throw from the saddle. Is Rusko still in Alchemy? Yeah. But it actually turns out that I think people found a lot of decks that were better than the Rusko stuff. But for a while it showed up way too much. I agree. So we get Congregation Griff or Marauding Sphinx. I think Marauding Sphinx is really good. Congregation Griff is definitely the much better pick with my first pick, though. This deck might be a little boring. I've never put this card in my deck. Doesn't seem worth playing with. This one, on the other hand, can be pretty good. Still have a billion wild cards. I have a good amount. What I do have a billion of is I have 23,000 vault progress. I guess 23,548. So I think the data says in this spot you're supposed to pick throw from the saddle over clear shot. I think especially given that I have 2 mounts already, including what, like a flying lifelink one, getting a +1/+1 counter on that's pretty nice. Alchemy seems to have cut into my stash. Not really. It's not like I craft. I usually craft like maybe a dozen cards out of Alchemy. It's much more just that I don't stream all the time. So there's actually some sets I've barely drafted at all that have come out in the past year. This set I've drafted a lot. I just got over the threshold where I have 4x of all of the regular rares now. Green is too good in OTJ draft. It's the best color. I don't think it's too good. It's a little bit weird in one of these drafts now, though, that was that a 4th pick throw from the saddle? That doesn't happen very much anymore. This is what draft was like the first 2 days the set came out, and people didn't realize how good this deck was. Mythic rare draft or take the Sterling Supplier. I'll take 40 gems. My deck seems open enough that I really don't think I'm going to wind up having to play a Sterling Supplier. I didn't play any sealed in preparation for the Open. It's like the better supplier card. So my pack only has 4 rares in it. So right away we got one problem. Only 4 rares. I think I'm not even going to pick one of them. I think my deck's already... I'm in such a good spot, it's not worth trying to... Like, this card's obviously absurd, but it's double blue, and... I have 2 good, like, really good green-white cards right now. And also, Stubborn Burrow Fiend is just excellent, especially in a deck that has, like, all this mount synergy. Also would be perfectly happy with taking Nexus of Becoming if there wasn't a Burrow Fiend in the pack. This card looks like it would be really good. It's kind of underwhelming, but that's what I'm going to take here. This pack is a lot worse than the one I just passed. Repulse. I love Repulse. I'm not going to take it in my white-green deck, though. I think I'm supposed to take Mystical Tether over the white-green land. I don't have any desert synergies, and I'm kind of unlikely to get any at this point. The only real one is Outcaster Greenblade, and that probably would already be gone from a pack if it was opened in Pack 2, so it would have to be in Pack 3. Mystical Tether is obviously also a good addition to what I have. I guess this thing is technically a desert synergy, too. That's what I'm going to pick here. I don't mind Fierce Retribution in a deck like this. Like, obviously, you're going to have to spend 6 mana for it a lot of the time, but sometimes it'll only be 2. So the Tumbleweeds might make my deck. Conduit Pylons is a second desert for the Cacturantula, which is kind of nice. And this is also just like a pretty reasonable card to have. They really buffed Unholy Grotto to the point where it's generally worth playing. Do I want an Inventive Wingsmith, or should I just take Free Strider Commando? I think I'm more likely to play Free Strider Commando, not that I want to play either of those. Wow, the Tornado. I don't think I'm going to play with any of these cards. They're all quite bad. So this pack's still going to have Endless Detour in it, I predict. I don't remember what the fourth rare was. The Bonnie and the Nexus of Becoming will certainly be on. Oh, I think the other rare was the Key to the Vault, Key to the Archive. That'll probably still be in the pack. All the rares are gone. People are rare drafting. I like it. Being an artifact in this set is a pretty big disadvantage. This guy gets just picked off from like stray 2 mana when somebody casts Explosive Derailment. A little bit too frequently for my tastes. I don't know if I'm going to play. Between the Sterling Hound and the Inventive Wingsmith, I'm not sure which one I prefer. I think I like the Vengeful Townsfolk over both of them. It's probably either one's going to make my deck. I guess I only have 14 real spells right now, so maybe one of them is going to make my deck. Maybe both of them. Where are the rare drafters? I've been rare drafting. How many rares have I gotten? Actually, I did rare draft Memory Vessel and High Noon, so I got 2. I don't have any in my deck, though. That's really nice for me. 3... I don't know if I'm going to play all 3 Steer Clears, but getting late Steer Clear is pretty nice. This card's funny. It's basically just Evolving Wilds. It's just like very complicated, confusing Evolving Wilds. This is just going to be a Frontier Seeker. I wouldn't mind. I certainly would like to get like a little bit of something along the lines of a Take Up the Shield or a Snakeskin Veil, but I do want to make sure I get enough creatures. And Frontier Seeker is going to be really good because it's going to hit. It hits. I guess it doesn't hit. I don't have that many mounts, but I do have, I think, 4. So that's pretty nice. Grindstone. No, thank you. And I will be taking my 5th mount here. Ideally, I get enough stuff that I'm going to cut either. Probably I'll cut 1 Steer Clear. I took the Fierce Retribution over a Steer Clear in the previous pack, so at least at that point I made the decision that it was better in my deck than Steer Clear. I think I'm going to stick with that. I don't want to wind up with too many non-creature cards in this deck. Like Stubborn Burrowfiend wants you to have a real high creature count. Raucous Entertainer is obviously card that really only works if you have other creatures. Like a Holy Cow. Holy Cow, it's Holy Cow. Guess that's what I'm taking. I wouldn't mind playing Reach for the Sky. I actually kind of like that card. Not as a high pick, but it's just like a card you get super late that in decks that just have a lot of creatures usually winds up being pretty good. Man, Fibblethip is bad. Took me a while to learn that, but I've learned it. I don't think I've ever put Rise of the Vermints in my deck. I don't think this is the kind of deck that wants it. You need to be like a black-green mill yourself kind of deck, I think. It's like a bunch of desperate Bloodseekers. In the realm of things that might reasonably be in this next pack that I could get, I would like a giant beaver. No giant beaver for me. There is a mobile homestead and a trained Erynx, though. I love mobile homesteads so much, but I think I should take trained Erynx here. I think I have enough mount synergies. I guess Miriam synergizes with both, but the throw from the saddles and the steer clears kind of push me to the Erynx. There's a chance I would play this Reach for the Sky, but I think I'll get one later. And everybody knows I want 20 gems. Ooh. Wasn't expecting a choice between a possum and a beaver this late. Don't have great possum synergies. Like I have Frontier Seeker, I think is the only thing that it's worth rebuying. I'll just take the giant beaver. It's my first 4-drop. I get a homestead after all. Nice. This is a really good Miriam deck. I think I'll win a lot when I draw that card. So I don't know if I need it, but there's another Townsfolk. I'll probably play a Townsfolk over one of my steer clears. Although I think if Reach for the Sky comes back, I'll be cutting a Townsfolk for that. I think this is the colorless card that has the highest game in hand win rate in 17 lands. The Bucolic Ranch. Some of that is just the fact that it's so good in the best deck, but it's also just generally a good card. It's pretty reasonable mana fixing for my deck. It's not just straight up colorless land. I have a decent number of mounts. What do I think of that medic? It's not the worst card. I don't think it really works very well in the deck I'm drafting, because the deck I'm drafting, you really want creatures that attack, and they need to be like attacking and dealing damage. You want stuff that attacks, and it's hard for your opponent to block it profitably. Whereas the Outlaw Medic, like if you wind up in a blue-white deck, it can be kind of nice. If you wind up in the white-black sack deck, it can be pretty good. It's pretty bad in white-red. Like, I think the thing that holds the Medic back is it's really not at home in, like, white-red or white-green. And I think that those are two of the more popular white decks. Is this the 2 reach for the Sky deck? No, I don't. One of those is enough for me. It wouldn't be a disaster if you wound up playing 2 in a deck, but I don't think that that's something you should be attempting to do if you can avoid it. It's just I like Reach for the Sky because it's a card that people don't usually play around because it doesn't get played all that often. But it's really high impact when it works. So you generally, you get to like win a combat that it was involved in. And then you're left with something that's just like a huge problem for your opponent to deal with. And when they deal with it, you get a card back, usually. Like, unless they have Stone Cold. What's happening here? This doesn't say non-mount on it, does it? It does not. Can I save this thing somehow? No. Like that. You don't see the hasty mobile homestead every day, but I'm a fan of it. They're not going to see that one coming. There's no chance they see that one coming. Wow, they're patient. And they went top. It's not good for me. Probably gonna lose now. I assume they have a removal spell in their hand. They have one card that they top that's not a creature that they've played. Now that was a waste of a card. Probably played the wrong card last turn. But I drew the possum, so it all works out. Wonder if they probably have Cruel Ultimatum in their hand, the way this game is played out. I wouldn't be surprised at all if that's what they have. That's not the land they needed for Cruel Ultimatum. I like to see that. Like it seems like that last card they had has to be the card they surveilled at the top from Consuming Ashes like 7 million turns ago. Just because the only spells they played after that were either bad, that bounce two things card, which, I mean, maybe they made a mistake and they left it on top, or the Peerless Rope Master, but they would have played the Peerless Rope Master like 2 turns earlier if they'd have been the card that they'd put on top from Consuming Ashes. So I bet that they actually topped Cruel Ultimatum and just never drew the second mountain. Which I know that's a really specific thing to guess, but I'm pretty sure that's what's happened. Too bad we'll never know. What do you mean we'll never know? We just need to find that person and ask them. You feel like the format is very bomb heavy? I mean, there are a lot of really good rares in the format for sure, but there's like the overall power level is just pretty high. I do think it's a format where you do really want to draft in a way so that if you open a good card in pack 2, you can play it. Like so in that sense, you do want to sort of stay open and try to get rares. The Oasis Gardiner. This person probably has Cruel Ultimatum too. All my opponents have Cruel Ultimatum. They're just all Grixis Cruel Ultimatum decks. I was just going to play the Drover Grizzly that turn, but getting to pick off turn 3 Gardener and get a counter in the process, it's a little bit too much to pass up on. No. The Ashes of my Burrow Fiend. I don't think there are other ways to stay open for pack 2 rather than just feeling like you want to be green and have the green mana fixing. I don't actually think that like the green mana fixing decks is what makes green good. The good green decks are much more just like green white aggro or green red aggro. Like, that's a lot of what makes green good actually. That guy's dead. Oh, that's a good thing to be able to kill. That would have been nice there. People draft green when they don't open bombs or if they open green bombs. Yeah. I suppose that's true. I think you can have some success with controlling black decks if you don't open bombs. It's hard to get a really good black deck if you don't get at least 1 or 2 good rares, but if you have a black deck that's just like commons and uncommons, you can have a deck that's okay. Fake your own death. No! I wanted that thing to be dead. Yeah, I don't need to do this. Who's ever beaten 4/5 reach? It's impossible. The only way I could possibly beat this is if I draw my reach for the sky. Probably gonna lose now. Got a lot going on. It's all bad for me. I'm going to go infinite scrying with Holy Cow. That's my plan. By infinite, I mean I'm going to do it once. Might want to block here. Probably not. But I might as well play it first and see. I'm drawing into something that makes me change my mind. No, I don't want to block. I think I'm going to keep that card, though. Maybe I should have blocked. This thing's just going to attack me again, and they're going to gain 2 more life. I think this game remains pretty impossible for me to win. My next card is Miriam. Would that make it possible? Probably not. Well, that doesn't help me win. Why not crew with the cow and leave the griff back to block to gain 2 life? Wanted to deal more damage. I thought the remaining composition of my deck was pretty bad relative to what they probably had left. Like, my deck was just not very good at winning through that board, so I think it was better just to put them on a low life and like hope they draw a land and I draw a good spell next turn and then maybe I steal a win. I didn't think I was going to win by like trying to play a longer game. As it turned out, they drew a spell and I died immediately. It was almost definitely wrong for me to not just have the Holy Cow block the Desperate Bloodseeker the turn before. Like, even if I'm racing, leaving them with the lifelinker that I'm not going to have a good block on the next turn, I really just lowered my life total by 2 for no reason. Guess I'll save the Surveil for turn 3 to maybe guarantee the homestead. It doesn't even help me that much to guarantee the 5th land. I don't know. I'll know more about what I want, at least at this point. Now I don't want to Surveil, because I think if I Surveil and I see a land on top of my deck, I'm not even going to be that excited about it. Like, I guess I would leave it on top, but it wouldn't even be that good because it's not accelerating me or fixing me at all. I think it was better to save this for a later turn where I would clearly just bottom a land. Oh, this was bad too, because I think I was supposed to play this thing this turn. I should have played that first before surveilling. Unless it makes it so I hit, but it didn't. That's pretty sad. I now know I have 5 spells on the bottom though, so we gotta saddle our way to the bottom of the deck. To the spell-rich part of my deck. I just milled 2 spells. It didn't work at all. I have 2 steer clears in my deck and another throw from the saddle, so I don't want to just trade my ankle biter with the... or trade ankle biter with Vengeful Townsfolk. Obviously, I would trade Frontier Seeker with it. I think probably I'll be willing to trade Stubborn Burrow Fiend next turn with it. We'll have to see. You find Seeker to be way disappointing in this format? I think you're really wrong. I think when you get a deck like this, it's really good. I mean, it's going to whiff some of the time, and it just whiffed in kind of a catastrophic way there, where it put 5 spells on the bottom of my deck. But I think this is a very strong card in my deck. Guess we're just going to do this to start. You're right, we have seen a lot of mills today that were really spell heavy. I think that Arena's rigged. I think it's pretty strong evidence that Arena's rigged. Okay. Wouldn't have guessed that was what they were going to play, but at least they lost 3 life. Do I only have 2 Burrow Fiends, or do I have 3? That card is so bad. I'm probably going to lose, though. Alright. Need to find a possum, or no, a beaver. How do things go so wrong for me? I'm not so sure about this attack, opponent. I'm going to hit you for either 4 or 6, depending on whether or not I have a creature to play. On the bottom of my library. I think that's pretty good. Actually, I'm going to keep that one. Because it's a very powerful 2-drop, which means that I can attack, play my 2-drop, and use the Colic Ranch. Why? So they could, I guess they didn't want to attack without saddling. But they did just trade 4 damage for 6 when they were behind in life total to start. Which don't sound good to me. They are kind of beating me senseless this game now, though. Unless I hit Congregation Griff. Congregation Griff, please. I did not hit Congregation Griff. Oh, a possum. Nice. I don't understand what went so wrong this game where We drew the same number of lands, and they played Bovine Intervention, and I'm still behind. I think I'm getting outstatted by my opponent. Maybe. So look at this. Frontier Seeker. I guess the problem was I whiffed on that the first time with Frontier Seeker. That didn't go well for me. But now things are going great. It was a bit of a tricky attack for them. If I block there, I have lethal if I draw a throw from the saddle, or Fierce Retribution, or Mystical Tether. I take 7 going to 4. Or do I just take it all? And I attack back, and they die. Yeah, that wasn't well done. It took me a second, Leafing Guard, but I think you're wrong. I think trading there was quite bad. Holy cow. I think I'm going to have to play a holy cow. Where are all my 2-drops at? just wanted to draw a land that turn. I felt like I probably had the Mystical Tether, the Ultec Matter Weaver. At the start of the game, that thing can get out of control. This is the card that I want to combo with Luxurious Limousine to make more limousines. I've yet to assemble that combo. It makes me sad. Oh, I like it when people just do this. Actually, I kind of like this card, and I usually think it's pretty good in white-black. But the play pattern where you play it on an empty board on turn 4 to just draw 2 cards is not. That's presumably not his deck functioning the way he wants it to. And then he followed up with this thing. Nothing in play. It's not good. Oh, all right. That's respectable. In my experience playing these white-black decks, you're always happy when your Ruthless Lawbringer dies. Because you just want to have it in your graveyard to recur it. They have played a lot of good cards, even though it kind of hasn't played out great. Would have been really nice to have drawn a 4th land at some point. This deck is all uncommon. Is that true? I got their mythic, so they do have a mythic. Wow. 3 of those is a lot. That card's really good. Give me a land for next turn, please. Alright, thank you. It's nice that they're trading there for me. I mean, they have obviously a handful of cards too, but trading 2 for 1 there when I have a handful of removal spells is pretty nice for me. Warner's surprising they didn't get back a Ruthless Lawbringer. What do they have up their sleeve? They're buying back a Ruthless Lawbringer. Could have played Throne from the Saddle there, but I'm just going to play First Retribution because they're obviously going to attack me. They're going to Ruthless Lawbringer. Probably the Stubborn Barrow Fiend, maybe the Miriam. Why didn't they just buy back the Lawbringer instead? Yeah, that might have been better. Guess they wouldn't get to cast the Treasure Dredger as well. Maybe they need the... Maybe they have like a third color that they need to get the mana for. So they wanted Treasure Dredger in play. Maybe they just have Stagecoach Sentry. Quite kill them, but I can force them to jump. I assume I have a good bunch of creatures in my graveyard. Maybe I don't have quite enough. Not quite enough to force them to jump. I'm surprised they haven't destroyed a good play at some point. Been lassoed by the law. Their deck's really good. Not doing a very good job of bluffing Snakeskin Veil. It's probably the best deck you saw someone draft and said. I've had a better white-black deck than this person's, I think. Their deck is certainly good. But I think I probably have had a better one. Don't like that they just went top. That's concerning. Not looking good for me. I thought it was better to top deck with my mana open. In part because I don't think that there were any mounts I could draw where I wouldn't just be dead on board. Like, I kind of needed to draw an actual, like, a spell that did something, I thought. Lame. Hitting 0. You're supposed to steer clear, crab. Steer clear of the barrel fiends. That Lazav's pretty annoying when I have 2 barrel fiends in play. A possum. Nice. Not nice. I really just needed to hit 1 creature. Oh, I screwed up. I should have kept saddling. I could have saddled the other one. That was bad. No, like how... If I try to go for Reach for the Sky, like if I attack with both Burrow Fiends and they just double block one of them, it goes pretty bad for me, I think. Oh, it's a scheme. Okay, okay. We hit finally. Let's play it in a way that I actually do something. I'm probably going to lose because I didn't saddle the previous turn. I'm just too far behind on tempo at this point. Don't kill the Frontier Seeker too. Go easy on the opponent. Oh, I like this. Racing, it's not bad for me. Holy cow. It's a holy cow. I've not drawn very well with this deck. There's been a lot of turns where if I just hit a land, the game would have played out pretty differently. Not in this particular game, but when I lost to that 4-5 reach thing, if I had had the land for the Fierce Retribution the one turn, I probably would have won. And against that white-black deck, if I had had the mana to be able to play 2 spells on like turn 6, if I'd had 4 mana, I think I would have won. It's not a joke. It's just the name of the card. Holy cow. I mean, it's certainly not a joke because it's not funny. This was probably a pretty ambitious attack. No, but they're not... That certainly would have killed me if they just played it on their turn. Are there any creatures in the graveyard? I mean, yeah, they could just kill me by being Marchesa. Guess I could just have another spell and it will still work. This was a disappointing draft. I thought this deck was pretty good. I did not draw very well. Because I didn't play great this game either. Either way, that's it for me for today. I'm probably not going to stream the Arena Opens, but depending on how it goes, I might make some videos. Thanks for watching.